let's just move into another dimension. Somebody has a question about AI. Yes, we have AI people. They are here with us. And let me quickly introduce one of our own, Dr. Iyasere. Yes, she's a founder and instructor, AI Vantage Ecosystem. AI and digital transformation is what she will be. Her base is currently in Germany, and she's a project manager. She's everything. Let me put it that way. Welcome, Dr. Shim. Over to you, ma.
All right. Thank you so much, the organizers. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Yes. And my that introduction actually made me laugh. She's everything. Yes. At times when I look at the journey, I see that each and every one of us, we've got potentials in us. And I'm so amazed at you know, the engagement so far. So today I'll be talking about AI and digital transformation, how it is. So I believe you can see my screen, please. Just let me know. Yeah. Can
Yes.
you see? Yeah, all right. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, I want to focus on the human-centered part because we humans actually should be the one at the center, at the forefront, giving the information and controlling how we want AI to work for us. I will briefly mention about digital transformation and how you can translate your research. But my focus will be totally different from the first two speakers because I really want to talk to you, the researcher, because you are the human being behind that research. Without you, the researcher, there is no research, right? So a little bit of mindset shift for those of you who are here. Artificial intelligence is not going to replace human expertise. You are going to use AI to amplify yourself, to amplify your value, to amplify the potential that you have as a researcher. Let me give you just a little bit of a background about me. At least a minimum of 2 years in nursery school. You can help me do the calculation. A minimum of 2 years in nursery school, 5 years in primary school, 6 years secondary school, 5 years minimum first degree, 2 years master's, 3.5 years PhD, 3.5 postdoc. That's around 27 years of my 43 years of age. You can calculate the percentage of that. And now, as a researcher and as an individual, I cannot invest about 67% of my years in education and end up as a poor person. That is actually what I call the poor intellectual syndrome. And we need to be honest with ourselves today. We are not wired as entrepreneurs, especially those of us in academia. We are wired to do research, to solve problems, to publish, and we even believe that all our CVs, like Dr. Bernard said, this is my achievement. And at the end of the day, nothing to show for it in your bank account. If we go within ourselves, we know that that is not the kind of life that we really want to live. Because when about research, you're happy you're published. But when it comes to the finance, you are not happy. We need to be honest with ourselves. So we're looking at the human perspective. How can we as human leverage on AI to build income streams for ourselves? And this starts with amplifying yourself as a researcher. I'm talking about as a researcher now. Leave the research one corner. Now, technology is designed around human needs, our capabilities, and our well-being. But how are we using it? I'm not going to lay emphasis on that. So AI is no longer just a tool. It is a co-worker. It can guide us in our decision-making. I got the question, How can I know this idea can be commercialized? Let me tell you, we all have all these lots of ideas in our brain that we struggle with. And the most important thing is very simple. Don't overthink it. Researchers, we used to overthink too much. And that is the problem. Once you know that the knowledge you have can solve a problem, you have an idea that can be commercialized. Don't overthink it. I have seen people who have never even stepped, who are not even, they have not even attended college, and they are doing absolutely well, just laying emphasis on one thing that they know how to do. So for you as a researcher, right, to leverage on AI to build your visibility, it's actually possible. Most of you are still hiding behind the screen or behind the shield, and you want to be visible. And then you now want to say, I have a product, or I want to commercialize a service or a product. It cannot work that way, especially in the era that we are in now. If you're not visible, you are nowhere to be found. Remember, we have about 8 billion people in the world. Now, in terms of visibility, let's even say you have your research work. Aside the publication that you have and this, the citation that you have, how else have you been able to communicate that research to the general public? Because that is where the adoption or even the commercialization can even come from. The public, the funders, they don't understand scientific terms. They understand simple English. So you need to be able to simplify those complex principles that you have in your publication into a language that they can understand. Now, you can come on social media and be talking about organic chemistry is the mixture of whatever and whatever. Nobody cares, nobody can understand. You need to break it down. So let's look at this. The visible scholar, you have to be visible. You have to be intentional about it. I keep emphasizing it. Make your research matter online, because you don't know who is looking. You don't know who is watching out for you. Before you now say, okay, I am a thought leader in this area. I am an expert in this area. They need to see what you are putting out. They need to see the engagement you're having online. And they need to see, your interaction with people. Now, look at this. You have a great research paper, but there are lots of information. There are lots of, do you know how many publications every day? But you need more visibility, more citation, but your relevance, your researchers who actively share their work online tend to get even more citation and get to be known as the researcher behind that research. You cannot hide if you really, really want to make it either in terms of visibility, or you want to now create an idea from what you have that you want to make money from. Now, your work can't reach policymakers or the public from behind a journal. No, that's not how it works. So what is the solution? How can you use artificial intelligence to actually amplify your research? If I have the time, I already told the host that maybe I'll just do a 5 minutes demo, like a practical session, so you can see how things can work leveraging on AI. Now, so the social media, let's use it as your digital megaphone. You don't necessarily have to be on all the social media platforms. Pick the one that works best for you. And the content or the information actually differs. Now, if you don't know how to craft those messages, create the content, you can leverage on AI and say, this is my research, this is the platform I want to use it, this is the output. You can even record yourself in the way you understand it and say, using the audio to text to capture your content and say, I actually want to talk about my research. We did this, we did this, we did this. This is our finding, and this is the implication. Let AI help you simplify it in a format that fits into this different platform. The language for LinkedIn is totally different from Facebook. It's different from what you post on Twitter, but AI can help you serve, to amplify those messages on these different platforms without getting you overwhelmed. I love it when the second speaker spoke about, okay, I'm yet to get there. Now look at it. I want you to see that AI is for your advantage. And the reason is that some people have imposter syndrome. The issue is, am I good enough? I'm not qualified. What can I say? What can I talk about? Will my idea be accepted? You can actually brainstorm with AI to see if this idea you have is worth it and is worth paying for. Now, like I said, a lot of us struggle with perfectionism, waiting to work to be perfect. I must know everything. I must, please forget about that. Nobody is perfect. The little that you know how to do, put it out there. Put it out there. AI can help you amplify it and build it up. The fear of failure. Of course, failure is part of the learning process. However, viewing failure as a final verdict instead of valuable feedback that guides your next step. Can you see all this analysis paralysis? You begin to analyze, what can I do? You are stuck with a lot of ideas. And let me also mention this because I saw, Dr. Bernard also talked about it, that what problem does from the research, you'll be thinking, how can I come? You can, let us open our mindset now. Let us, try to think outside the box. As I see it, most of us are thinking of commercialization, even based on only the research. Research is part of our life. It is not totally our life. We have our lives to live as human beings, despite the fact that we are researchers. Yes? I have my life experience I can talk about. I have skills I have gathered in different areas, even from my teaching experience. I can turn that into streams of income. I do not necessarily have to focus on my research and say, I must make, a business idea from my research. So there are different areas you can look into. You can look into the skills you have gathered over these years of doing research. You can look into your expertise. You can look into your experience. What problem have you been able to solve, probably for your students in your teaching, in the university? You have been the dean. You have been the HOD. There are lots of problems that you solve on a daily basis. These are things other people want to learn. These are also the pain that some other people are going through. It could even be as simple as the Excel that you are using. Yes, you can monetize it by teaching how to use Excel. That's why I said don't overthink it. So the solution is we can actually leverage on AI to elevate our brand, to uncover hidden potentials. There was a time in my life, late last year, stroke early this year, I needed an extra source of income because of my situation. And because the way I was wired as an academia was that I could only think in one direction, that if I don't get a job as a researcher, that is the only thing. If you ask me, what can you do? Researcher. What can you do? Lecturer. And I applied, and the job didn't come. Life has to move on, right? What helped me that time was I just uploaded my CV. You can as well try it out. Go home once you finish this, upload your CV into ChatGPT and ask this question. What are my key strengths? What are the things that I have done? Identify the hidden patterns. Sorry. Identify the hidden patterns. Sorry for this. There's a call that just came in. Sorry. Upload your CV into ChatGPT and tell it to identify those hidden patterns in your CV. You will be surprised at the different ideas that is going to bring out for you, things you cannot even figure out yourself. So when I did that, it opened my eyes to see about 30 different opportunities and different organizations that I could work with based on the experience I have gathered over the 18 years. And like I used to say, that night I cried. And the reason why I cried was that, so for 1.5 years, I cannot even figure something else outside academia. I was just one way direction. So if you do that, you will see that you have strengths in different areas that you can hold on to and turn into, business ideas later on. Now, when it comes to research translation, like I said earlier, there is power in storytelling, because it is through storytelling that you are able to connect with the ideal client, with funders, with collaborators, with the general public. AI also can help you amplify your story. For some people are talented, are good storytellers naturally, but some are not. But the mere fact that you can still express yourself in the way that you understand it, let us now hand over that raw material. And that is why I'm focusing on the human center. What is the input you are actually giving into AI concerning yourself, concerning your research, concerning your experience, concerning your expertise, that you want it to help you amplify your story that can be used, to talk about what you do or services that you can render. So I have on the screen here, the importance of storytelling and how AI can help us. Don't forget, most people use ChatGPT the wrong way because they don't personalize it. And for you to personalize ChatGPT, you need to give it the right information so that it understands you, knows you very well, and can even help you to write your stories and your content in the language that is close to the way you would write, because you've already fed it with the raw data of your writing style. And probably you can even upload your CV and say, this is me, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is how I write, this is how I speak. Henceforth, this is how I want you to write. Generate my writing style for me. Once you read it and you're confident about it, tell it to keep it in its memory and use it henceforth when it is helping you to write anything you want it to write for you. So now, there are different things. I come from a background, I am an animal scientist. I'm not an AI, from the background. But why I put this is that I want you to let you know that irrespective of your background, AI is for everybody. It is simple to learn, like Miriam said. These are things that you just need to have an open mindset that I can also learn it. Now, how can, sorry?
5 minutes to go.
5 minutes, I'm almost done. So we may not be able to do the practical session then. So look at this.
Caring for animals leads to healthier animals, better productivity, and safer outcomes for human health.
No, it now depends on what you want to monetize. I may decide that I have a YouTube channel about this. And as it keeps growing, definitely, I can get monetized. That is part of my knowledge. That is what my career is about. So I can create video content using AI. I can get monetized. That is another stream of income. So we all know the paycheck is not paying when it comes to researchers and things like that. So that is why I actually created the AI Vantage ecosystem, and that is the QR code if you want to be part of us. Here, my intention and my plan is because of what I went through, and because that I don't want to remain a poor intellectual, I decided to help other people by sharing the knowledge of the different AI tools that can help them future-proof their career and also build products, digital services based on the knowledge that they have. So you can take a screenshot. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn as well. That is the QR code. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you. Everything. Thank you. When I mentioned everything the other time, you were laughing. Now you can see. We are still coming back to we are still, for the question we are please drop a comment. We'll get the question all together. The next speaker allow us to be able to add everything together. Yes. See, Dr. Bernard, and you will ask your question. Please, let's put it together. I put a challenge there on the page, on the chat. I said, if you have